Whenever the multipliers of dining and groceries are brought up, the first credit card that comes to everyone's mind is the American Express Gold Card with its $325 price tag. But in this video, I'm going to talk about how I believe many individuals can benefit from cheaper alternatives such as the Capital One Savor credit card. But before we get into that content, guys, feel free to smash that subscribe button as it directly supports my channel and I release credit card content here on YouTube regularly. The Capital One Savor credit card comes with some of the most competitive multipliers in the entire credit card game. And the best part is that it's tagged along with a $0 annual fee. Having a $0 annual fee takes away that fear of you needing to maximize the benefits of a credit card so you don't lose your hard earned money. This is even more beneficial for individuals new to the credit card points and miles game. Without having to worry about an annual fee, you are able to figure out which places get you the highest multiplier without having to be scared of losing any money. Moving on to the multipliers in question, the Capital One Savor credit card has some of the most genius marketing that I've personally seen from a credit card because they've kind of taglined this credit card for food and fun. And that's exactly what this credit card is going to get you, and an amazing way to remember the multipliers, especially if you are a beginner to maximizing credit card benefits. The food part of the catchphrase refers to a 3x back on groceries, which I do want to include. This excludes Walmart and Target. This is very important to note because if you're like me who does your grocery shopping at Walmart due to their lower prices, this is only going to code as 1x if you use your Capital One credit card app. But if you shop at a Walmart neighborhood market, this will actually code as 3x back on groceries and get you kind of 3 times that you would normally get at a Walmart participating location. This card is also going to get you back 3x on dining, and these two multipliers together is what makes the Capital One Savor credit card so competitive. Because you generally see $0 annual fee credit cards having either or one of these categories. But being able to have both on a $0 annual fee credit card is legitimately insane, guys. And this is why many people refer to this credit card as the AMEX Gold killer or just a direct competitor to the AMEX Gold. And that is because you are getting a 1x difference in both dining and groceries without the $325 price tag. Moving on to the fun part of the catchphrase is going to leave us with a 3x back on entertainment. This is kind of a broad multiplier that applies to purchases such as movie theaters. Again, it's not going to get a large amount of multiplier at your use, but if you're an avid moviegoer, you can get some decent cash back over a long period of time. And the last 3x is going to be on streaming services, which includes the big three such as Netflix, Hulu, and Disney Plus. So as you see, as a whole, the Capital One Savor credit card is a well-rounded credit card, especially when you take into consideration its $0 annual fee. Moving on to every credit card user's favorite topic, let's talk about the sign-up offer you can expect on your Capital One Savor credit card. And very similar to other credit cards in the industry, the Capital One Savor credit card is going to get you $200 of cash back when you spend $500 in the first 90 days of opening this account. This is very similar to other 3x dining credit cards such as the Chase Freedom or Chase Freedom Flex. So it's right on par with other $0 annual fee credit cards, but it's by no means necessary anything to bat an eye out because this is not going to cost you anything to obtain. But if you want a little bit kind of a bigger sign up offer, being patient, you can expect from time to time Capital One offering an elevated $250 bonus with the same minimum area of spend. Another offer you can expect to get when you apply for your Capital One Savor credit card is a 0% interest rate for the first 15 months of applying for this credit card. Now, I want to put a large disclaimer on this portion of the video because if you have no experience with credit cards, guys, this can entice you to spend more than you regularly do because you are not incurring interest during this period. But once this offer ends, guys, you're going to begin to get charged between 18 and 26% of interest on a yearly basis. This is the way that we can lose all tangible values from credit cards, which is why I warn anyone watching my videos that the only way to capture points and miles value is to pay off your credit card at the end of every billing cycle. Before we continue talking about the other benefits of the Capital One Savor credit card, I do want to take a moment and kind of reiterate that by no means necessary am I saying that the AMEX Gold is a bad credit card. If I were to rate the AMEX Gold, I would definitely put it in S tier, and it is by far the most utilized credit card in my entire wallet. Because it offers some of the highest multipliers in the entire industry for both dining and groceries. And while it does have a large $325 price tag, I hate to be a repeater of this, but it legitimately has a $0 effective annual fee if you legitimately utilize every single one of the credits. But my problem comes is that two of the most recent credits on the revamped version of the Amex Gold are geographically dependent. And that is the Resi as well as the Dunkin' Donuts credit. So if you do not live in a resi dominated city or have Dunkin' Donuts near you at a kind of reasonable rate, you are not going to get any value and lose out on $180 worth of credits annually. So that's why I highly recommend the Capital One Savor credit card before the Amex Gold to a large majority of people in the credit card game, especially if you're a beginner. Once you've learned the in and outs of your Capital One Savor credit card, especially where to maximize those multipliers and benefits, you can then advance your setup by forming what's called the Capital One Duo. The Capital One Duo is a setup from Capital One that allows you to convert your Capital One cash back points into points and miles that you can transfer out to the various transfer partners offered by Capital One. And the way you are able to do this is by adding a credit card such as either the Capital One Venture or the Capital One Venture X that both have the capabilities to transfer out to the transfer partners offered by Capital One. To better understand this concept, without a secondary card forming the Capital One Duo, such as the Venture X, the only ways you can redeem your cash back are either via cash or via check in the mail, which unfortunately is redeemed at a point 0.5 cents per point. So what you're essentially doing is either having your multipliers or having the amount of credit card points you have, which makes this credit card kind of worthless because essentially you're only getting 1.5% back on dining and groceries if you're redeeming in this way. The second way, which is mildly more acceptable, is redeeming it for a gift card, which is done at a zero point 0.8 to 1 cents per point. If you can capture that 1 cent per point, guys, I always say the green light is there because that's essentially getting the 3x back that is promised on this credit card. But if you have the Capital One Duo, you are unlocking a brand new world in the credit card points and miles game. Because now you have the various transfer partners at your disposal that are offered by Capital One, which includes a laundry list of flight and hotel partners. Of the transfer partners listed on the screen, some of my favorite flight partners include Air Canada's Aeroplan, British Airways, which once your credit card currencies convert into Avios, you can actually book domestic American Airlines flights, which is one of my favorite ways to use my credit card currency. These flight partners, I've made redemptions in each of them, and you can usually capture at least a 1.5 to 2 cents per point redemption. This way, you're getting a lot more than if you were to convert via cashback at zero point 0.5 cents per point. And the best part is that the ceiling is up to you. Depending on what your threshold for your currency is, you can either be normal and book for a 1.5 cents per point, or you can be the ambitious redeemer that you're going to shoot for that 6, 7, 8 cents per point with these large business class redemptions. That is the best part about the credit card points and miles game, guys. It can vary from person to person. We all have different goals in this game. Aside from the benefits of the transfer partners, both the Venture and Venture X, which are going to make that Capital One Duo for you, are going to give you access to more multipliers, giving you a more well rounded credit card setup. Without going into too much detail to make this video about them, both of these credit cards are going to unlock you a 2x catch all, which is huge because having a 2x catch all is going to kind of put the floor on all of your purchases at 2% back in Capital One miles. And both of these credit cards are going to come with their respective multiplier in the travel game. So, as you see, a more well rounded setup for only having two credit cards gives you more access and more availability for gaining credit card currency and traveling in the future. Well, guys, that concludes my overall opinion on the Capital One Savor credit card and why I personally believe it is a more well rounded credit card for the average credit card user, especially if you're a beginner to the game. By no means necessary am I throwing shade on the Amex Gold, as it's one of the highest utilizations in my entire wallet. But if you are not someone that can make these credits work for you, I do believe the Capital One Saver card is going to get you a lot more mileage at a stress-free level, which is why we use this credit card game. But guys, if you enjoyed that content, feel free to smash that subscribe button as it directly supports my channel. And if you want another credit card related content, I got you one right here for you.